But yeah, that's the thing, and it's funny too with those two because we're like 18 hours ahead. So we're
Yeah.
also, oh, you guys are from the future. I'm like, yeah,
I
we're
know.
from the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in front of us, it's really kind of only like New Zealand and a few of the Pacific Islands. So almost everybody I've interviewed and spoke to has always been in the past, you know. So it's
Yeah.
what's the weather like? It's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Still no hoverboards. I'm like, yeah. Sorry.
Good morning, good evening, and good day. My name is Scott Tiller. You have joined me again on an episode of Gunpla Insider for the Gunpla Network. This is where I get the opportunity to sit down with a builder, someone in the community. Primarily, Gunpla is the gateway, but we like to touch on anything else that comes into that realm. Just a little bit of admin. A couple of our sponsors, Canadian Gundam. That's our primary sponsor for the Gunpla Network as far as plastic kits go. And Clouded Communications are my personal sponsor. Look after my VMR and my camera gear and stuff like that. Make all this just a little bit better. And I would ask that if you watch a bit of this video and you enjoy it, give it a like. And if you just stumbled upon it, give us a subscribe and you'll get a bit more from the Gunpla Network than just 3 or 4 minutes of laughing at me and this other guy. So anyway, sit back and relax. And this other guy tonight is Rob from Melbourne, Australia, also known as... I'll get you to do all the talking, Rob. How you doing, mate? You tell us all about yourself.
I'm all right. I'm Rob. Living in Melbourne now, originally from Tassie, via Sydney, I guess. Hence the name Gundam Taz 77. So, yeah, g'day out there in internet land.
Yes. So how long have you been... Let's focus just on Gunpla. Let's focus on modelling in general. How long have you been modelling in general, Rob?
Modelling in general, this will become my fourth year.
Right. Did you start on Gunpla or Mecha stuff? Or
My very first kit was a tiny helicopter. I think it was 172 or something like that I got when I was a kid, when I was in the Philippines. I bugged my mum for this at a school fete, for a couple of hours till she gave in. And I think that's kind of what stemmed my my passion for this hobby. And it's not just that as well. I love movies. I love special effects. I love creatures. I love robots. So all of those kind of tied in to what I love. And I think it's just painting and building is just like one creative way to express what I'm into.
Mm-hmm. Well, you asked me what you sort of do as a general day job. Like, is this the sort of thing that gets you a mile away from your drudgy life, or does it kind of work your work as well?
Well, yeah, no, this is an escape. Before this, when I was younger and that, I couldn't really afford kits, and music took over as well. So music was a big thing in my life, and that was, I think it was easier for me to do because it was more accessible. When I was looking at resin and, for instance, like latex for makeup, stuff like that, it was way too expensive for me. But none of that left. You know what I mean? So as you do get old, and I think playing fast, angry music is for kids. Not saying that old people shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that. I like my metal and...
No.
Hey, sorry, what was that?
It takes a bit of a toll on you, and you...
Yeah, it does.
Like anything, you take a week off and all of a sudden you're like, I just got to... What was that again? And geez, do I have to keep carrying this everywhere, sort of thing?
Exactly, but it's... Like I said, it's an expression. After a week where you go to the rehearsal studio and just scream on the microphone. But like I said, in later years, it kind of crept in crept back in, and I'm like, well, I can afford airbrushes now. I can afford kits. I can afford paint, and the music side of it is starting to I'm not that angry anymore. So I don't have to scream at him. You know what I mean? I don't have to scream at a microphone.
And now you just build like killer war machines that look like they've had a really hard life. These are maybe like reflections of like what your little mind used to be when you were like super angry and
and
what you've been. Rob's mirrors.
It's more of I still need a creative outlet, and this is perfect because this is what I've always wanted to do anyway. And I think when it was starting to creep in, instead of coming home and thinking of riffs, I was coming home and thinking of paint jobs and paint schemes and stuff like that, and looking at model kits again. And and I think when I moved to Melbourne and the band finally disbanded, and we all broke up, and that was just like, well, that's it. I can just spend 100% of my time into modeling as well. But to answer your question, like what got me to Gunpla was, let's say, growing up in the Philippines, I know of Gundams, but I never actually saw it till I was older. Growing up, it was like Voltus 5 and Mazinger Z. Those were like the Astro Boy. Those were like the animes and the next that I was getting into. A colleague of mine from my old work started to show me Gunpla. And I was like, oh, yeah, I do remember these. And I've always considered them as toys. Yeah. Like everyone, everyone who doesn't know it will consider it as
and when
toys.
You see it snapped up, your first kits, it's not until you put a couple of top coats on, a few decals, a little bit of weathering, and then you look back at a snap kit, and it does look like a toy.
It looks like a toy, exactly. And
be fooled when you first start.
Well, he showed it to me like this is what I built. It was a Freedom, a high HG Freedom, whatever. And I actually took a closer look at it, thinking, oh yeah, I can see, you know what I mean. And at that time, I was starting to dabble into. Well, I was starting to collect the Agostini Millennium Falcon, the one that you have to buy in a magazine.
Oh yeah, sure.
I was kind of getting into that, and so I was starting to assemble that, but cost-wise, it would have cost me like $2,000, and I've already missed a few editions, so there was no point. And when I saw that Freedom, I was just looking at it and like, this is cool, And so when I got my airbrush, I got my first. It was from a secondhand shop in Tassie. First grade RX, Granddad, sorry. 178, one of those. That's the first Gunpla I've assembled, painted, and weathered, and boy, it's awful.
Yeah, we all say that. Now, look, we want to look at some of your stuff. Now, weathering, I would say, is cool. You've got some clean work in there. There's a Boogu in there, which is I've got one back there which is not clean like yours. It's the Boogu has a special place. The Origin HD kit are just good. But
they are. It's a dream.
Stuff. Now, this is just a folder of kind of what you call random pictures, and I'd just like to do this because it gives people an understanding, the broadness of what you do. So, I'm going to flick through these pictures, just sort of talk to us about, I guess, weathering, and whether you kind of like, without the pun, whether you kind of like just fell on it, or whether you feel it's taken you a lot of work to get it. Because some of your weathering here it's Mickey Mouse, in my opinion.
Mickey Mouse. Thanks. Oh, shucks. I think as far as weathering goes, I've always liked weathered kits. Like as far as modelling goes, I should say, I've always liked the look of where something has been. And not just a straight out of a showroom type model. So it adds life, I guess. And so I've always been drawn to weathered kits. So that's the Type 90, I think. Yeah, it's a Type 90 MBT Japanese tank. This is my first 135th tank, and I just put everything I learned. Oh, hang on, how did I get in there?
I don't know.
Sorry about that.
It's work, mate. There's not much weathering there, but I really like it.
Oh no, I can't even remember his name, but he's from the Centurions. He's like the main bad dude from the Centurions, and he's like a cyborg, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't.
All right, we'll keep moving on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an example as well of that.
Use a lot of just like most people use like some pigments and washes and Tamiya powers and stuff. Is there anything that you do that you think is the real linchpin, like really brings it all together, or are you one of these builds where you do stages and you just start laying it on until you think it's had enough?
I think. Well, I think of a scenario these days. Like when I was practicing my weathering, it was just basically just random. You know what I mean? Just random like chipping, blah 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 here and there. But as I kind of developed, I guess my style, or if I can even say that, I started to. Yeah, he's pretty cool. I love this dude, Gustav. I think it's his name. I'm pretty sure I named him Gustav. I started to think of where a kit would be. So I'll picture a scenario. It doesn't matter if I am going to build a diorama for it, and I'll think of something. That's how I'll weather the kit. I'll weather the kit according to that. And yeah, but I use a lot of acrylics for my chipping, pigments as well, just to add texture. But I can't get enough of oil paints at the moment. Right. Yeah, I got a fetish for oils. So it's basically, it's so versatile, like from highlights, from shading, from shadows, from oil slicks like that. It's, you can use it as a wash, as a filter. But yeah, it's just so good. And I encourage people who's getting into weathering, like to seek out oil paints. You know what I mean? Like if you're getting a bit nervous, don't worry about that. Just do it.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to on a couple of your IG streams, I think, and watch you actually at work. Because it definitely intimidates me. Like I went through a stage where I just gunked everything, and it just when you get your first Origin kits and you just kind of gunk them in that the stuff, the Starship filth.
Oh yeah, the Starship filth,
and you just gunk it in that, and then I still look at some kits and just go, I can't believe how good that's just plastic, gunked, some decals, and like that's the tip of the iceberg, And apart from that, I'm really reluctant to kind of just start smearing stuff. I just don't feel like I've got the control yet, so I'm definitely one of the people that should be watching your videos there,
I bugged a lot of people. So yeah, I bugged heaps of dudes that I've seen how or stalk their pages to see exactly how they did this. You know what I mean? So
like a couple of guys that you found really sort of influenced you. That
Aaron, I gotta give props to Aaron. He's the main dude. When I first started, just shyly posting something on the GBA Australia page. Aaron Simons, Weathered As, yes. Yeah, he's basically my senpai or whatever. I give props to him. He taught me a lot. And so yeah, he kind of spun out because I've shouted at him a few times on IG and I said one of the comments, "Oh, dude, you really inspired me to do this." And he was like, "Oh man, I can't believe I've made that much of an impact." And I said, "Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. I bugged you for ages."
And from him, you'd reinforce that he's just such a great guy too. Really.
Exactly. And so
humble.
So, and a few more people as well. Just stalking the Instagram page and asking them questions. And I think, getting back to the community thing, I think that's what the community is for, really. You know what I mean? That's what it's for.
Right. Yeah. Now this Mark II is I would. So is this a MG?
That is the RG I did.
Are you for real?
Did for the
RG.
Yeah, that's an RG that I did for my friend that showed me the Gunpla. He quote unquote commissioned. He commissioned me the RG and then the master grade after this. This is a learning curve. This RG.
Oh, I love it. I've got this. I've got the Titans made up and the P. Bandai Armoro one, which I got off a guy, but I've got the A again, like, and I'm building the PG at the moment. And
I was seeing that, man.
I really want to see a Mark II that's earned its keep, and this is an example of it has earned its keep.
Oh, shucks, thanks.
Try and give something a go like this with my the RGA that I've got. It's funny. So he gives you he gets you hooked, and then like years later, you're like, boom, there you go.
What I've learned from that build is stop using stickers. Stop using stickers. Just wait for the water. That's the master grade.
Yeah, I went too far. I thought there might have been a couple more. We'll have a look at this Jagdoga too. Yeah, stickers, they work for a while, don't they? And then your eye starts getting in, and then you realise, it's one of those things. I went to Japan like a month after I found Gunpla. It's almost like it came to, to the Lord almost when I found Gunpla. And I was in Japan with my family, and I'm like, I got this kit, and people are like, just buy like heaps of water slides and tools and stuff, and you're like, what? This is like, But now, when we go back next year, which we're hoping to, I will come back with every freaking water slide sheet I can find. I don't care what it's for.
Same.
I've used MG. I've seen off MG sheets for RGs and stuff off RG sheets for MGs. We'd all just start throwing them at it.
I think it's just good to have them. It's just good to have them, I think. And I remember my mum when she found out about, I'm starting to build models again because I've asked my brother to get something for me from Hobbyco. And she kind of said, like, oh, you're doing those toy things again, are you? Nah. So she was kind of remembering my love for these things even as a kid, so... Yeah, that's the master grade.
Did you like the master grade?
It wasn't too bad. I guess. I really can't. I really can't remember the build. Like a bad seam line right there. You can see it on the head.
Where?
I could not. Right there on the head. Yeah. But so yeah, this again the T90, the first 135th tank that I actually built and painted. It's not bad. It's a Tamiya kit. The only bad thing, and I could have scratch built something on the top of the turret. There should be like a leather mantle covering those two, I guess, knobs, whatever they call them, hook things. Yeah, those two holes, they should have a mantle there. And surprisingly enough, apparently a lot of dudes, they just didn't get one. When I looked at, when I searched for it on the net, there was a lot of people saying, to me, you didn't have B-52 or something. But yeah, I love this tank. This is probably one of my favorite tanks.
So this is
that boogie was nice.
The clean build you've ever done?
Yeah, I can do clean builds.
Boogoo's rad, isn't it? There's something.
It is.
It's not quite. It's just at that point where they really pivoted and Xeon just went, hang on, I think we've got this.
We got something here. But you can't. I'll put one of those SMS jewels, like those SMS details, on the eye, but you can't actually see it.
Right.
I think it's just a camera.
Acted a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks kind of there.
That's probably one of my favorites as well because it's just clean, and I'm like, hey, I can do clean builds, man.
I really wish that would do like a nice master grade, or even an RE100 would kind of work.
It would.
It's surprising would do with the RE100s if you want to put a little bit of masking in and stuff like that. Yeah, so you do a bit of... This is... what are these little robot dudes? And I don't want to offend anybody, but I just see them, I'm like, a little robot dude. And I see them... It's not Marquet.
That's all it is.
It's similar
It's Mecha Triwigo from Hasegawa.
Right.
So there's a 1/20th scale and a 1/35th. This is the 1/35th. And, so this is my first, I guess... one of the first non-Gundam mechas that are built and painted, and I actually thought it was bigger. I actually thought I got a bigger one, but Obviously, I got the 135th. Not too. It's pretty fun to build, man, and it's because that front has got you can just put so much texture. It's a fun build.
And it's got a lot of kind of open spaces, eh? So you can really work with just that's sort of like the patterns you want. You want to get that kind of all that. All right. Well, we'll just pick up where we left off. Just
God.
count the three in your head and just go, oh yeah, this one, and just crank back into it.
All right.
All right. So just start talking.
Oh yeah, this dude. So this is my first. My first. Yeah, you won't forget your first. So this was my first Gunpla.
I gave you.
Yeah. Oh, this is one I bought. Yeah, look at it. I used everything. Like I did everything that I learned on this kit, and yeah.
College, on the driveway.
Oh, mate.
Got the dog to sit on it for a couple of days.
Oh, look, there's mud splashes on the shield.
Yeah,
you know, there's that steel, like, what do you call that? Dry brushing on the edge of the shield there. Yeah, the shield's not too bad. The rest of the kit's like,
Have you still got it somewhere? I mean, you got to hang on to those things.
Oh, yeah, I've got that, man. I've still got that.
Like first day at school.
Exactly. Yeah, this is like how I started, and this is, I'm progressing to this now. So yeah, no, I'll never throw this away. This is like I should, this should be in a vault.
Yeah. Oh, leaps and bounds now, mate. So
yeah, that's what I mean. From there to this guy, I don't mind this guy. I love this little dude. This is that Marquet SG Prowler. Right. So this is the first one that I built.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, it's in 135th, and it's there is a lore or a story to this. I'm just not 100% sure of it.
Yeah.
And I did try to paint him in his that colours in the box anyway. I don't know. I can't remember the squad name or whatever it was, but that's all hand painted too.
Yeah, nice. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to do that sort of stuff, isn't it? A little brush work.
Well, I wanted to try Luca Zampriolo's technique of hand painting.
Yeah. And
he did it on a 120 like Gruber, it's called.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to try it on my cake kit, and yeah, there's that Mecha Truigo guy again. This is, I guess, my first, proper diorama, you could say, that I've actually kind of worked on. Yeah, I just wanted to do like a junkyard scene where this little dude is salvaging, just junk, and he's got his that's all kit bashed as well. That's from that's from a 172 tank that I can't remember. But yeah, it fits as a small engine anyway.
Yeah. All right, look, we might go on to some we've got some sort of more in-depth photos of some kits in specific. So, what was I going to say? Oh, GBWC Australia is like, it's months away, but before you know it, it's going to be weeks away, dude.
Exactly.
Have you got plans? Are you making plans? Are you the type that leaves it till 3 weeks before and starts pouring resin? I'm talking to you. I'm talking about you, Lance. Days before. Yeah, I mean, what's your experience with GBWC? And fill us in on your experiences and plans.
Well, this will be my first, and I've said this, plenty of time, that, I'm going to do it, blah, 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 but it never happened. Last year I did complete one. I was just wasn't happy with it. But, like James was saying, dude, just go in and have a party. And that's what I'm going to do. But I still want to present something that's me. you know. So for this year, I've stepped this bad boy up.
Ooh,
The RG says, I'm not going to do a review or whatever. It's just a really, really nice kit. I mean, for what I'm going to use it for, it doesn't really matter for the articulation and so on and so forth. But my first plan was to do an ocean scene where I love doing. I guess you could say crossover dios, where it not necessarily Zeonic or Earth Federation forces finding the suits or piloting the suits.
Right.
So I just want to use them as a prop. The first plan was I'm gonna do a water scene where the Navy was fishing out like a GM out of Mariana Trench. I got the boat for it. It's a 144 scale. It's massive. It's 48 centimeters long. So I'm like, yeah. And so I'm thinking, nah, I'm gonna scrap that idea because I want the main focus to be on the Gundam, right? On the Gunpla, not the massive, nice ship that I'm going to paint. So you know what? I thought, time to pull something out of the backlog. I picked the Cesabi, but I didn't want to do the good old, maintenance type setting, sitting in the maintenance hatch kind of setting. I didn't want to do that. That's overdone. I also didn't want to do that they found it in a side of a mountain archaeological dig type, because I think that's been done as well. So I was thinking of just doing like, what if like Zeon won the war? Like, because I can't really remember what happened to this suit after Shah's counterattack. So in a what if scenario, what if Zeon won and this is like 100, 200 years into the future and everything's peaceful and they've just got a monument to the Cesabi. So I want to do him like, I was going to paint him bronze, like a bronze statue.
Mm-hmm.
James again actually said like, it'd be better if you painted him like the actual suit that went to war. I'm like, yeah, I can do that as well. And in that way I could go nuts with weathering and with what I do anyway. And so I'm going to do that. And I'm thinking like, well, because it's peacetime, it's been sitting here for like, centuries. So it's going to be weathered as, really. It's going to be faded. It's going to have, grime. It's going to have rust. It's going to have bird poop as well. Yeah, so all that good stuff. But I just got to buy like 144 figures because like it's going to be like a park, like it's a Shah Asdabal Memorial Park type.
Yeah,
scenario.
It's like run a Gundam base, I guess. Instead of a unicorn, there's a Cesabi there, sort of thing, and town centre stuff. Yeah,
exactly. But like in a what if scenario, what if Zeon won the war? This might happen. So.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, let's have a look at. I think so. Let's have a look at this. This is probably your favourite build that I like. The machine itself both confuses and amazes me. So the Hilderdorf.
Hildolfa, I think. I think that's how you pronounce it, Hildolfa.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to flick through that. There's only about 4 or 5 pictures of it, but I'm just going to flick through them. So, tell us about this as a any lore you can, because I'm totally intrigued by it. Like, does it stand up and leave its carcass behind, or what's the deal?
It's from the Igloo storyline, I guess. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
but it's in 144 scale and it's huge. It's massive. What I like about this is like you can actually that torso you can post it without the torso and just have it like a tank. And I was playing with that idea for a while, and then you know what? I said let's build a torso because why not, right? And it actually grew on me. Like I actually started to like it, and so I just gave it like a desert like color scheme because the actual color scheme was green,
right.
And well, if it's going to be in the desert, it has to be like a deserty type yellow. So that's like what is it, Dunkelgelb? A mixture of Dunkelgelb.
Oh, the meat one?
No, I had the Vallejo. Vallejo, yeah. Dunkelgelb
it's almost like a baby poo, greeny, yellow. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If you watch the Igloo, I believe that the primary action in that episode is desert. If it's the tank.
Desert.
Yeah, so you nailed it, bro.
But that's the thing. The mistake I just realised now. If it's green and they painted the yellow on top of that, all those chipping shouldn't be. It shouldn't be brown. It should be green.
Oh, look, I think the story it was about a whole bunch of wonder weapons, like how the Nazis at the end of the war were punching out these things, and the wonder weapons, the V2s and things like that. And so
exactly.
It was about these weapons. But at the end of the day, if they were done 5 to 6 years earlier, they would have been deployed. So even though that colour, I see this, like in Africa, taking on the rats of Tobruk, but Fetty style, this thing's burrowed down behind an Egyptian pyramid, and they just pump it away at the horizon. So it works totally.
Yeah, no, well, that's what I thought. So it can't be green. Like, if it's in the desert, like, why would it be this olivey green? And that's just weird to me. So I gave it a deserty yellow. Not so much mud, but more dust. So there's a lot of layers of dust washers and pigments on top of that. But because it's 144, it's got to be to scale. So I didn't go overboard with it because it's a massive tank. It's a massive tank.
There's a ladder there on the side. There's a big ladder. I don't understand. There would have been a ladder to get up to that ladder. That was probably on the back of a truck. It's a beast of a machine, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's so good. And that's supposed to be at the back. There's like a bulldozer blade, and those are like little more scoops. But
yeah.
They're massive. They're huge.
So we can dig his own little emplacement, level the ground out and really kind of lock it into.
Lock it into.
Around.
Yeah.
Unreal. And this stuff up close, this is. You could have walked up to your dad's tractor and took a photo of the side of something on his excavator, and I'd be like, sure, no worries. I mean, the way your slide's going on, everything is.
Thanks.
Love it,
yeah, that's just. I can't even remember the paint that I've used. Vallejo Rust Brown. That's all that the chipping is. Dark rust, I should say.
That's just my brush, isn't it? You've just done all that. Yeah.
A brush and a sponge.
I've had a lot of trouble Vallejo to airbrush. It just totally. I can do MIG straight out of the bottle. Vallejo's just totally ruined my day. I'm thin. A whole lot. But the brushing of Vallejo, there's so much on offer, right?
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good, especially on a wet palette. No, it's cool. I also like they've got a pretty wide color range too, and that's it's pretty good. But yeah, man, no, I don't mind this guy. Hey, like I said, I didn't want the torso. I just want him to be flat. But you know what? No, I've got to keep torso. There's also a mono eye right in the center of that. But the thing is, it's still so tiny, can't see it.
Yeah, right. All right, we'll follow in the theme of tanks. And we'll have a look at this really, really, really fantastic gun tank, in my opinion, especially if you've watched any of the original series. This is the traditional colours. And, all you kind of see is the tank goes off white base, lands, they do a bit of damage, beat up a Zaku, and off they go. But
off they go again.
Yeah, but in reality, they would have been hanging around and doing stuff, and they don't just walk into a village, rescue it. They kind of sit around, white bait, bug off, and go and stand offside to not get attacked, and then come back. So to see it just parked up there, for an hour, that's exactly the sort of stuff I like to see. Those moments in time.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking of for this build. I was looking at you know what? It's a tank. It's a Gundam. It's a gun tank. You know what I mean? What am I going to do? Should I? But you know, yeah. You could go nuts on the color scheme of this. You can go, Gundam colors or tank colors. But you know what? I'm going to stay true to the box art, to the not 100% anime correct, but close enough, I guess. And in my head, because I had these little dudes, you know what? I'm going to make a scenario where they're rolling through like a camp, and just an encampment, getting washed or, getting stowed away for the weekend or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so
little soldiers and the trees and I know Craig Flynn is like mad about making his own trees. Same with James, dude. The stuff they make, they're kind of like, it must have been how God did it. Just, I'm just going to do this and this and this and this.
I'm going to get my get my pin vise, and I know what you mean.
Poly pin vise, and just like, there's a volcano. It's all good. Are you big on kind of like really scratch building your terrain and stuff?
Not scratch building. No, like I'd rather like look for it. Well, I don't buy the ready-made ones. Right. This tree was from a branch that I found, and I just added all the,
like a legit tree outside.
Yeah, like a legit tree outside, and I just made sure that it's to scale with these guys, because I didn't really have a ruler. And so I was just like, oh, okay, that kind of looks like it's tall enough to cause injury if you fall, type thing. And I wouldn't mind learning how to actually start learning how to make trees with wire. Looking at some videos and how to do that. And it looks easy enough to do, but at the moment I've got branches outside that I can kind of use.
I sit in your garden going, I'm going to get you.
Ask my missus, man. Like we'll go if there's a bush, and like, what about that? And go, oh no, baby, it's the branches are too far apart. It's not to scale. Oh God.
What I do notice is, I used to be right into drones and stuff and flying RC planes. I still am a little bit. And there used to be, I'd be driving around wherever, downtown, countryside, seeing sports fields going, oh, that could be a great place to fly. I'll put that on my Google Maps. That could be a great place. And now, when you get into Gundam, and if you like weathering, like people like you and I do, you're looking at manholes, and you're sitting in the traffic looking at the back of a truck going, whoa, how many times has that truck been repainted? That's bananas. The other day I went to the Queensland Aviation Museum. It's up in Caloundra, and it's got a couple of really rad, like, Cold War jets and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, I think did you post it on your page? I think I saw that.
Yeah, on Instagram, and, like, you just look at it, and like, this is a weathering masterclass. There are aircraft that are, like, 60 years old that have hardly been touched, and they're just sitting there slowly just going back.
Accumulating, yeah.
And that's what happens, isn't it? You start to see other stuff.
That is so true. I mean, to the point where I stopped. There was like an excavator at work, and I stopped the dude and said, "Excuse me, man, can I take photos of your tractor?" I was like, "Why?" Because I build model kits, and weathering here is perfect. Like the mud on your tracks, all the rust and all that, and on your scoop and on your motor. And it's like, oh. Yeah, for sure, mate. Hang on, just let me dump this. And then sure enough, like he called me over about after 5 minutes, and he presented his truck. I mean, his excavator. He presented it to me. Oh, have a look at this one. You know what I mean? Like, oh, go in there. There's like heaps of rust over there. Like, yeah, have a look at that. I'm like, oh, it's awesome. Like, but yeah, you're right. You don't see rust in the same way after you started building model kits.
There's a dude on Instagram. If you don't already follow him, I'll hook you up later. Called What the Hell? Have you seen this guy? He makes like he'll make small things big. So he'll make like but what he mostly does is big things small. So he'll do what you'll see the photo of what looks like some manky, disgusting underground New York subway toilet. Full of graffiti, the basin, it's slimy, it's snort. It looks like every second man these dogs thrown up in it. It's disgusting. And in the corner is a 25-cent piece, the full size.
It's insane. Yeah, I think I'll follow that.
This big, and the window's this big. Or he'll just, through the back, you'll see his finger sticking through the window, which looks like it's about this fat.
Yeah. He's got a beard, and he's always had his hat back. Yeah, I think I follow him.
Dude, he's got no Facebook, but he's got a webpage. It
Yeah, that
doesn't-
guy's insane.
he'll just do the side of a shipping container with an aircon thing that's been leaking and slimy grime, and it just blows me away. I could talk about all night.
What I spin out about that guy is he gets the tags right. Like when he does like an urban scape or with the graffiti, he gets who that guy is. He gets it right. And I'm trying to think whether it's water slides or not.
Oh,
Can't be water
right.
slides.
He probably brushes all that stuff.
He probably brushes it because it's the same style and it's insane.
Yeah, but you see when you make a toilet and he makes the system and it's all, he gets a little bit of like irrigation and steals something off his big toy and cigarette lighter and just creates it all,
Excuse me. Yeah, exactly. No, he's great.
All right. We're going to look at this
Cool.
E-Freet, 1100 E-Freet. Now, what I really like is that this is the first time I've seen an E-Freet and thought, I think I want one, because you usually see them all shiny and glossy and fancy. And to me, I'm just not attracted to the super shiny, glossy stuff as much.
Mm-hmm.
When I see this one,
that's
I'm
fair.
like, this is like, I'm all about War Machine. It needs to look like it's actually, it's actually used.
Been in battle.
Yeah, that's right. That's actually been about. It's not a shelf queen. And this one to me looks incredibly used. So,
Thanks.
I mean, you just take everything and just weather it. But is there a bit more to this than just, I've got this kit over there in the corner, I'm just going to build it tonight and weather it tomorrow?
Well, this was going to be the GBWC entry for last year. So the only clean thing is that sword. Like that sword, it's an afterthought. It shouldn't even been there because I painted that sword like way earlier because I was testing shades because it was going to be blue. And I thought, So it was going to be my GBWC entry. I ran out of time and I wasn't like 100% happy with it, but I am happy with it. I gave him a red base coat. I wanted to give him more of a sentinel type vibe, if that makes sense, like a more of an imposing, like I'm a guard, but I'm a kick-ass guard type dude. But so and it's the thing. This is a challenge to me because it's red. I just found out that red kits are really hard to weather, especially dark red kits.
You're right. Would you say that your style of weathering is what's called an additive approach? So you do your base colours and then you put all your chipping and stuff on top, whereas you have that, people do the hairspray and the masking and stuff, and they kind of like, they'll then pull away and scratch and that sort of business.
I know what you mean. I do that as well. It depends on my mood. So it depends on how, if I can be bothered hand painting all these chips. That's the thing. But yeah, most of a lot of the weathering I do are layers, basically in thin layers, because I find that it's harder to add on than to take off, especially with dealing with this kind of weathering, I guess. But yeah, she's pretty cool. I said the only thing that I find hard is because it's red. How do you weather a red kit? You know what I mean? Like that's what stopped me.
Yeah, I love these thrusters. I try to do this myself. I don't, I'm getting there, just a bit of a dry brush, but that blue burnt towards the end there, I love that stuff in. When you take you go back a couple of pictures and it's just this big kind of beefy, huge thing, and you got to let go of physics and go, so there's this thing, it's around about 18 metres and 60 tonne, and it's just got two little like firecrackers out the back.
Yeah.
And it just does. I love just the way they're finished. Another thing here on this one is it just a trick of the light, but they're right on the chest where the paint is actually peeling.
Are you talking about like on the corner?
Yeah, just above the Xeon symbol. It actually looks to me like it's actually peeling off.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's the I guess stencil chipping method. I think that's what people call it, or mapping. So basically, your base coat, then you add like a lighter shade of the base coat for the highlights, which is that pink thingy, like that pink you can see.
Yeah.
And then on top of that is your chipping color, and that's
Yeah.
That's up to you. That's up to you. But what it gives out is like what you're saying is like it's peeling off. So it's
like that.
Yeah, so it's cut off from it's peeled off from the first layer of paint, revealing like that, and you'll see it in cars as well. There's always that lighter tone, and then the rust, and then you know what I mean. But
I'm gonna pick one of these up now after seeing this one.
Bro, they're awesome. I've also did a few mods like those, or kit bashing anyway. Those 2 leg thrusters. I didn't like the lunch boxes that came with it.
Right.
It's just too big, man. And so I wanted it more streamlined. So that's from a 144. How do you pronounce it? Hussar? Is it Hussar? HSSA? What's this? A Z on? I think it's a Hussar or whatever. Or Zassar or whatever. And yeah, so the leg cannons and those forearm cannons as well, because usually like he's have his forearm cannons there, and I didn't really want it there. I wanted it to be up on the side.
Yeah.
But then it gave out like this big gaping peg, so I covered it up. I covered it up anyway. So and I added a cannon.
Yeah. Man, the way the leg goes down and it's got those 2 thrusters out the side, I didn't notice those before. That's how he doesn't fall on his face when those backpack busters light up.
Yep. Yeah, man.
The Iron Man thing going on. That's awesome, eh?
Thanks, bro.
Oh, it's a shame.
I don't mind.
Shame we didn't get to see that last year, but anyway, it's always a step forward, isn't it?
Well, like I said, I wasn't 100% happy. There's a few things that I could have done better in that kit. So
yeah, you got to be happy.
It is what it is. Yeah, I think we are our own worst critics anyway. So
yeah, I mean, you tend to. It's weird how you go through these little phases with every kit. I mean, some builds you just snap them up, and I've done. It's only in the last probably 3 or 4 builds I've actually started painting. But even when you do a bit of a top coat and you start doing some stuff, and you go to these it's like a rainbow of emotions where you love it, and then you kind of like it's all right, and then you start doing something, and you look back at it and you go it's terrible, and then 6 months later you do something else, and you look back and you go. No, it's actually really good. I do really
it was good.
Right. Yeah.
I know what you mean, man.
Look, it's just awesome weathered kit after awesome weathered kit with you. This is
thanks, man.
Great Jester, like a real tweak on the Jester is on my list. Yakushiki 2.0. It's I'm willing it into my possession. It's going to come. It's not cheap, but I'm going to get it. And
you're going to get it?
I want an MGGS. It doesn't have to be one of the new crazy PBs or anything silly. Just I've got one up there. It's like a clear one, all blues and greys. It's a PB.
Oh, nice.
Thing, but yeah, I need a Jester. This one, I've not seen anything like it. By changing up and the whole medic thing is like, hang on, why do you need a medic mech? But you kind of do. We forget that there's not just robots running around. There's dudes.
There's people. And soldiers.
People. That's right. And this guy's going to rock up and might just throw him some sort of, pod thing that gives that platoon a whole bunch of, IVs or something. But he's got to be able to fight his way there.
Exactly. Exactly. With this was for the Mecha, no, not the 1 month war build off on IG, and I had
1 year war.
It was actually, sorry.
Was it 1 year war or 1 month?
1 month war build off. The 1 month war build off on Instagram. I think it was last year. Yeah. The premise is you got 1 month basically, and it's head to head. So it's a head to head battle with another builder, it's not too bad. I came second with this. I lost to Tuffy Tats, but that build was just brilliant. Like I knew he was going to win that anyway. When I first saw that, this is all just ceremony now. I know you've got this. But anyway, I picked this up. This was a plan B. I was running out of time. I only had 2 weeks to paint this. And so, I ran out of time. What I wanted to do was have his backpack. Actually, I wanted to scratch a bit like a little hospital, like a mini triage unit.
Oh yeah.
Because it's one, yeah. So that's his thing. And when I posted this on my page, someone actually like DM'd me and showed me a Zaku that's a hospital
Let's
unit.
say this. It's that thing that Art Kenshin dude. He's got like carrying fruit and stuff near the bridge.
Yeah,
Something like that. I was going to say, like, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
but yeah, and a lot of people was asking too, why the hell would you need a medic in a battlefield? I'm like, well, it's not. At first, I thought maybe like Ratchet or
Yeah, like a mechanic.
yeah, like Ratchet in Transformers, like fixing the robots. But I thought, nah, that doesn't make sense. No, he rescues the soldiers that are injured in the battlefield.
Correct.
And everyone's like, oh, of course.
You think about it, especially in the Space Wars, there's always, a bunch of Jagans get punched out, and there's always like someone running around scooping up their pilots, and sending them back to the Agama or wherever they're going back to, and
Exactly.
So, but on a ground war, you don't scoop them. You walk over, and you stand in front of them with these huge gats.
Yeah.
His leg things might not be missiles. They might be, like I said, kind of like medical pods and stuff, and things like that. Pop out while he's just like laying down fire to protect the guy.
Fire. Yeah. Well, exactly. And so when I explained that, it's like, oh, well, of course, it makes total sense. Well, it's war. You gotta have, sort of badass like weapon to rescue people, for Christ's sake.
There was aircraft in World War II that I'm trying to think. There was one particular one, like especially when it came to the Pacific War, naval aircraft that the US had that were designed to be bombers and designed to be this, and they were converted to carrying people in and out. That was that was what they did.
Nice. Yeah.
Similar principle, he might have had a lot of armor, but they take some of that out and they make extra little seats and stuff in there.
That'd actually be a good little conversion kit to do on a plane.
Do it.
Yeah. But yeah, something different. Let's make him into a medic. Why not? There's a medic in the battlefield. That's what I like to kind of go for. Just out of box type ideas.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Look, speaking of out of box, this is literally out of a box.
Yeah. It's got to be one of my faves too.
Is this actually an ammo tin that you picked up from like a surplus store or something, or?
This ammo tin was given to me by an old customer in Tasmania whose husband passed away, and that's why she gave it to me. Like, I used to serve this customer all the time. Like, when I brought her products out to the car, I'd notice that in her car. I'd always make a comment, oh, man, that looks awesome. Oh, you still got that tin. And she'll just, yeah, that's my husband's. And then one day, she came into work, and I thought, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have your order. Oh, no, it's not that. It's I'm going to give you this because my husband passed away recently. I know, right? And I didn't really know what to do, and you've always liked it, so here you go. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I know, you know what I mean? I gave her a big hug and like, oh, are you sure? Like, yep, no, you'd like it more than I would. I'm like, okay, cool. And so...
It's unreal.
I know, right? And yeah, that was like, oh, shucks. And so I kept this. So, I brought that from Tassie to Melbs, and I did have some water slides in there, but I took them out.
Oh,
and I thought, well, you know what? This dio is for the Mecha Wartimes build off as well on IG, and I came second with this. So I know, right? But that's cool. I think who beat me this time? I think it was Tuffy Tats as well. Yeah, it was. It was Tuffy Tats as well. God damn it! But his dio was amazing. So hats off. Like, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? I'm just saying that I came second with a hand. So screw you guys. I came second with a hand. So now. Again, the premise of the build-off is you got, I think 2 months to build a scenario, a wartime scenario. It doesn't matter what mech, it doesn't matter what scale, but it has to depict war or instances of war, or it has to be a war theme.
Like a war
and so, yeah, and so well, I thought, you know what, like everyone's going to be building battle zones, battlefields, and combat. I wanted to pick something that I guess the results or the outcome or the cost.
Yeah.
So so in my head, the story is in another world, in another universe. World War II, Germany. They built mobile suits.
They did, yeah.
They built mobile suits, but it doesn't have that Gundarium armor type thing. It's it can still be put down by tank shells, and so hey, let's present something like this. Why not? And it gave me the perfect opportunity to use this UC Hardgraph kit and this 1/35th scale diorama with your ruins from Model Mini Art, I should say, from Mini Art, and the figures I got from Stalingrad. So yeah, basically it's just a sawn off hand, landed on the house, and now they're all orphans, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's a pram. So there could be a baby, or not. Maybe there may not be.
So sad. So Gustav, you seem attached to the little guy. You seem to know him personally.
Oh, Gustav! Look at him. He's just so sad.
Yeah.
And I wanted to I really wanted to concentrate on trying to get his I guess expression right.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard in 1/35th, and this is my maybe third proper attempt at painting figures, and I learned a lot from this one too, because I used a lot of oils for shading, and But no, Gustav is just and his dog, and the cart's broken, and no one seems to care. And so they're just walking past.
I think that the way you've done your figures, I think it's really imperative that people sort of remain focused on the overall picture. I don't know if you've ever been to the Canberra War Museum. That's, for those that aren't familiar, that's in Australia. They have a lot of dios, and I've been going there since I was a child. And what you'll see with there's the fields of Gallipoli and Lone Pine, and the cliffs of Gallipoli and the fields of Lone Pine. And what you'll see is that they do this thing where they do depth. So they, the figures that are like a metre away are 8 inches tall, and the figures that are only 2.5 metres away are an inch tall. So they give this perspective, but there's no. It's much like Gustav and the way you do figures. There's no detail in the face, but you're not there to see if that figure's got blue eyes. You're there to give that vibe of
just the sorrow. Or
absolutely. Exactly. Yeah, I think one thing that is good is you didn't have to weather the case.
No,
because look there at the bottom there. It's already that bit's already done for you.
It's already, and that's what I thought.
Look at
I wanted the base, and so hey, why not use this, the perfect size? Oh, mind you, I did some alterations, and I had to cut the side off. Once again, James, no Zaku boy, thank you, because I was just going to put that on top. I was just going to put that on top of the dio and just seal it type thing. And he's like, nah, man, put it inside the dio.
Frame it a bit.
Yeah, and I'm like, genius, thanks. So,
Dio King.
Yeah, I know, right? And then, so, thanks, man.
Yeah, look, I think that's just it's weathering. I really like the way the figures are. I think some people get a bit hung up on pilot stripes and this and that and the other. It's that's cool, but the story is about the whole feeling. We've only got a couple left, and again, I'm a bit of a noob when it comes to this stuff. So you can kind of tell us all about it. I think we got some glimpses of in your rando pictures, and the grass, and there's some sort of bantam chicken just.
As a duck. This piece I kind of dedicated to my friend, the Daff Robo in IG. G'day, how you going? Because you know how everyone's got a trademark to their builds? I wanted to have an animal on every dio that I do, I want to have like a tiny animal.
Right, I think
And
you've done
that's
so far.
yeah, and so I wanted that to be my shtick. And so he's got a duck, right, Alberta, that's got a tuft of white hair, and she's gorgeous. And so
Real
you know
duck.
what, a real duck, yeah, she's got a real duck with a tuft of hair, and it's kind of like Albert Einstein, and so. And so yeah, I was thinking, well, I've got this little duck. You know what? I'm just going to surprise him and do like a swamp like type of dio.
Yeah, love it.
And sure enough, there's a duck confronting a guy in a mobile suit, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's a Marque Fireball, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Fireball, 1/35th scale as well.
You're just sort of like stomping around the swamp, and the duck's like eating bugs. Next thing, the duck's like,
Yeah, like hello.
what's going on? No intimidation at all. It's just like, what's up?
Nah, what's up?
Yeah. There's a real scene in this Marquet stuff, that kind of the real polish of the metal. There's some people that just really excel at it, and I think they get a lot of pleasure from it. And I think the Marquet stuff also has a bit of a I wouldn't say elitist, but there's a real like, oh no, there is a certain way, it's a certain style, and you need to try and nail it. And a lot of it seems to be specific colours and getting those textures right in those right places. It astounds and scares the crap out of me. I'm like, I don't know.
I honestly didn't even know that existed. Like, I just painted it like how I saw it. Like, I didn't know that it's like, oh, you got to paint it. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, like you got to paint it this way. I just
looking at it. There's some people are very, because it has a lot of lore behind it, and very committed.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just see it as a perfect, like, because it's just all blank space to do it on. And it that's I didn't know there was like kind of canon or law in the way it has to be presented. I just thought that, hey, if you're going to do something like this, you might as well do it on this kit, because it's the perfect.
I would have thought you had done the research, to be honest, because
honestly, no, I did not.
It slides right in. It's unreal.
It just looks cool.
It does. Again, on the head there, is that still more additive weathering? So you did like a base coat,
yep.
And then you kind of just your rust effects are all still on top.
That's still on top, so that's all just layers. Everything is layered. I'm getting connection alert again. I'm sorry, matey.
Oh, that's all right. I just took up very loud and clear on my end, so we'll just keep rocking on. Yeah.
No, it's just all layers.
There's your greasy oil pipe slick thing.
Greasy oil pipes.
Beautiful.
And the thing with water slides as well is, I think I've seen a few dudes who wear their kit and then put the water slides, and then the water slides are so clean. Like you gotta kind of weather your water slides too, because it just looks weird that the surround area is corroded or rusty or dirty, and then you got like a bright white like label. It doesn't make sense. So I did try to rust all that up and scratch it and whatnot.
Yeah, I've noticed a few bits missing on the ones that I've seen on yours. It's got to be done. I really enjoy when you like a mobile suit that has like a shoulder, Anaheim Electronics or something, and when you put it on and then you kind of let it settle a bit, and then you do that slice where there's like a natural kind of between two panels, and then it just there, and then when you get to do your panel lining, and it just looks good. You're like, oh yeah, the rest of it can go to shit. I'm happy with that.
There's nothing. It is so satisfying to watch as well. Just when you put your first drop of like panel line wash into the panel and just grooves.
Yeah. Do you do like, a gloss coat on yours before your panel line?
No. Dealing with Bandai and putting on water slides, I have to. But if I don't have to put water slides on it, I usually just put a semi-gloss or a matte coat, and that's my protection. Because with me anyway, I will do a wash, and that will be all my. So I'll do a wash first, clean that, and then do like a pin wash or start doing the panel line. But after the initial wash, anyway, it should have been done. All your panel lines should be done.
Yeah.
But I don't just do the panel line. Like I wash the whole thing. I wash the whole kit.
Yeah, cool. Alberta.
There you go, man.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
What have we got here? I think we just got the junkyard dyer. Now, I think this might have been the first time I saw you building, because I remember this is the Kubel wagon.
Yeah, I love the Kubel wagon. That's my missus's Kubel wagon. She picked that kit up.
Yeah, it's a really great little car. I used to be a big Volkswagen head, you know. Kubel wagon means like a terrain car. And the Germans, they have the one that's like a boat. It's like a little boat. The Schwimmwagen, which is a water car, you know, it's... Yeah.
Oh, nice. I've got to get one of those then.
Yeah, and they've got one in Canberra, and it's got like, if you know much about Volkswagens, where the motor is at the back, and you've got the pulley that goes off to, it comes out off the main crankshaft. Well, the pulley on the back of it has like a little spline, a bit like when you get an old crank start car, and the crank has to kind of like lock in, and so they'd have like a little sort of drop down motor with a belt, and they would just drop onto that. And it would just bang that wheel, and it would just turn this.
Oh wow, that's insane!
And they could just push themselves across a little creek or a river or something. But yeah, crazy, man. Anyway, Kubel wagon.
Kubel wagon.
I remember seeing you building this thing up and just watching it go from a kit to a beautiful Kubel wagon, and then you just start destroying it. I was like, oh man, what's going on?
It's got to be destroyed. So this is my first foray into thought about doing a diorama, like planning it out, and so there's a lot of, like I said, hits and misses, but it's a learning curve, and I'm proud of this build. I wanted to do like a junkyard scene, because these guys are awesome. Like as well, I put like a little light on him on this Mecha Truego, and for some reason I just imagine like a Mad Maxi type thing where these guys are out salvaging for
Badlands,
metal parts, whatever, and he just encountered a junkyard with cats.
Yeah. Like that shot, that angle's perfect. It's almost like he's like in this machine. Yeah. He's like pretty tough compared to the cat.
And he's trying to...
And the cat's got its ears back, and he's like a little bit scared of the cat, and he's reaching out with this like probably 600 pound per square inch claw thing going... kitty, you know?
Yeah.
It's a cat, and it's like these two things, they want to be together, but the world won't let them.
Exactly. I like I said, I didn't know what else, and I thought, I've got these cats, I've got these animals, let's use them, and so I did. But
down there that he's looking like he's going to pick up or something, is it?
Yeah, that's just like that's is that rubbish or is that a bottle?
Like a garbage bag.
I think it's a garbage bag. I made some garbage bags. As much I try to scale it down to 1/35 as much as I can, but basically I just tore out some garbage bags, put some cotton wool in there, and tied it, chucked it in there.
Love it.
But yeah, that's all 1/35, and it's great. And I love the flower coming out of
growing up through the wheel somehow.
And I just really wanted to dirty him. There's a lot more that I could have done with this kit too, but I decided to like pull back because of where the environment is too, because it's not, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean you can see that car being driven around, and all of a sudden it breaks down, and it's kind of up in the swamp, and it just gets left there, and then maybe 100 years later, that's what
yeah, exactly. And if you see like right at the corner there where the wheelbase is, there's a bit of I used like that bare metal foil sticker for that. So bare metal foil, prime it, lift it up as careful as possible, and then do your base coat.
Right.
And it just adds that illusion of paint peeling off. Right on the corner there, see where the flower is? Right on the left.
Can you see my mouse?
No.
Oh, that's okay then. All right, we'll find it.
Oh, you'll find it. You'll know what I mean. Right there. It's that rip. Yeah, that rip on the paint on the corner. So that's bare metal foil. First time I've used it and it worked. Like, oh, great. And some 1/35 scale water bottles from Meng. I found this, like a 1/35 scale water bottle kit or set from Meng models, and just chucked it on there.
Seems like a really good scale to work with.
1/35 is awesome. If Bandai did more 1/35 scale kits, I reckon they're going to have a slew of brilliant dioramas.
Yeah, I know. Like 160. Like I thought I could get a ground crew for my PG Mark II. And it's like there's a couple that come with it, and it's just so hard. Even 100's tough. Like I took a sniper last year, and I had to use HO cows just sitting in the paddock near the sniper, and they're like 180,
182.
Yeah, 182,
87 or 182, something like that.
Cows. I'm like, yeah, they're big cows. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
So
close enough.
It's the scales they picked are just so awkward. But
I think 1/35's like the most popular. It's so like universal. You can get 1/35 scale anything. But yeah, I'm super proud of that. The front looks so rad. Added a bit of like mud splatter on the side, on the fender there on the left as well, and some like I got a knife and just started hacking into it too. So it's corroded metal. It eats. It would have been eaten away and started to corrode.
Oh, and sort of machine that would have been built like say in the 40s, 30s, 40s, and to last. So talking about something that if that was left in a paddock in Britannias in France, in 1944, it would look like that around 60 or 70 years later. That's how you find it now.
And
taking something that should last a really long time, and you're giving so much history to it. One thing that really gets me is it looks to me like there's a bullet hole through the windscreen.
Oh, there is.
So there's a story right there.
There is.
That thing was going somewhere, and it looks like someone put a shot through the windscreen, and obviously the vehicle stopped.
I could have added some dried blood as well on the back. I didn't even think of that. That's awesome.
I don't have blood. 70 years, the crows would have picked it away, or the cats would have.
Yeah, but that windshield was actually fun to paint as well. That's just all. I cracked it with a pin. I got one of these pin thingies. Just cracked that. Just started slicing off the actual glass, and just use a muddy wash and some pigments, and that's the result.
It's even got little those little things on the back of the little motors. They go through and make the wipers go. Like
yeah.
I had so much fun. Just that. Right?
It's an awesome kit to smash. Actually, like I said, it's my missus. It's my girlfriend's kit. She loves the Kubel wagon, and when we were in a hobby shop one day, she picked it up. Like, okay, cool, awesome, babe, sweet. Anyway,
was it on the box? It was probably yellow, like a mustard yellow.
Yeah,
a military
like African Corps type version from Tamiya.
There was some civvy versions that were like a mustard yellow that would have been bouncing around California in the sort of 60s and 70s. They're probably coming out.
Well, that's
factories in
I think that's what she saw. I think that's what she saw, and she fell in love with it. But this was the military version. Yeah, so she picked it up, and she hasn't built it. And I'm like, well, I need it for a diorama, babe. Do you mind? Go for it. I'm like, okay, thanks. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've done the fireball. I think we've kind of worked our way through. We've done your jester.
Cool.
I think I'm going to give you an opportunity to sort of, we've been going for a bit over an hour now. I'm going to give you an opportunity to, I guess, sort of just just give yourself a bit of a plug. And anything else? Anything else that you're involved in? Like, I'm big on the community. I'm big on seeing, positive vibes and all that kind of hippie hoo-ha stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it helps because a hobby. I've been sort of listening to Joel and James and all those guys that are kind of getting around them. And it's supposed to be fun. I think maybe you see it in every hobby.
You see it in every scene.
Your 7-year-old wants to play football because he was playing football. By the time he's 21, he's losing his shit because he's getting benched.
And it's not as fun anymore, I think.
But it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Exactly. Well, I found that, like I said, in any kind of scenic or scene type scenario, there's always going to be something like that. But, you push past all that negativity and you just build. So, that's my message to the interwebs is just build, like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess get inspired. If you see something or someone, that's building like all these rad kits, like don't get intimidated, get inspired.
That's your lesson.
Like, like we all joke about it. Like, oh, I thought I'd build something cool. Then I saw this dude's and I just threw everything away because like, stuff this. I mean, we can joke about it. That's fine, but get inspired by that guy. And
tell us about what you're doing with James. Is it the Four Horsemen?
The Four Horsemen.
The other guys. Is four of you, or is that? I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's four of us. It's me, Nozaku Boy, the Daft Robo, and Gunpla Geo. Gunpla Geo and Nozaku Boy are from the States. They're basically our shtick is we're just four dudes, four mates who like to talk shit and build. And I think I kind of coined it, like, because we had like a group chat, we're just chatting along, blah, 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 and I coined the phrase the Four Horsemen. It doesn't mean anything. It's not a club. It's not a clique. It's not you can say a build team, but not really. Like every time we stream, we just say, hey, we're four dudes who talk shit and build. And we like to laugh because, we love us and, we love to laugh. And, so the thing with the Four Horsemen, though, we want to take it to kind of like, I'm going to say like a lesson type stream where we're thinking of bouncing ideas of having like all four of us building a kit, and you guys out there, if you guys want to know about like more about weathering or scribing or, just or anything, even the basic stuff, I guess we'll try to do that with all of us doing it together. And so
like scribe. Anybody who does it is awesome, but some people would prefer to use a stencil. Some people will use this. Some people are just crazy nutbags that can freehand with the back of a scalpel. So
exactly.
All different approaches. It's very easy to see someone do something and you go, that must be the way it's done. But it's only one of the ways.
And one of exactly, and that's what we're trying to tell people as well. This is like what we do is not the law. Like it's how we do it and how it worked for us. And so in that sense, like you can comment something and say, hey, but I did it this way, and we'll try that way. And if it works, then that's brilliant because we learned something. You know what I mean? And exactly. Like, like we learned something and we're going to plug it. Because, hey, but like, for instance, I was streaming and the last dio I did was just a muck around, 1/100 scale, a self-propelled Russian tank. And it had like, I kind of like my dio is a bit morbid, I guess. It's kind of like had a casualty, but he's hanging off a tree. Right. And I was trying to think like, well, to have a more natural look, I have to bend his neck and point his toes. Right. And how do I do that? Do I melt the plastic? And someone wrote, hey, you cut a wedge and you bend it that way. And I'm like, brilliant. Yeah. Awesome. And I did it and it worked. So, and that's actually Jesus Gundam. So cheers, guy. And, and that worked. And that's for like a 1/100 figure. a 1/100 tiny figure. And so that's the kind of interaction that we want to have with the guys that's watching us. So
yeah, that's great.
Cheers.
Great. All right, so there's yourself, there's Nozaku Boy, that's James, he's in Australia, so Nozaku Boy on Instagram, and the other two, what are the Instagram?
The Daff Robo at Instagram and Gunpla Geo on Instagram and YouTube as well. Gunpla Geo is brilliant. He's a funny dude, and he's he's a good bloke, good builder. He's a bit shy, I think, but he'll get out of his shell. We'll get him out of his shell.
Sort him out.
Yeah, we'll sort him out, mate. But those three guys, sorry?
It's good to see you doing it like across the time zones of different countries and stuff too. You know, that really brings the community just that little bit closer. It's easy to think that we do what we do here and we're all the way down here in the colony, but at the end of the day, the experiences and the feelings and those when you walk away from a build meet or you meet someone who loves robots as much as you do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same.
Yeah, it's like hugs. But yeah, that's the thing, and it's funny too with those two because we're like 18 hours ahead. So we're also, oh, you guys are from the future. I'm like, yeah, we're from the future.
Yeah. Because in front of us, it's really kind of only like New Zealand and a few of the Pacific Islands. So almost everybody I've interviewed and spoke to has always been in the past, you know. So it's what's the weather like? It's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Still no hoverboards. Like sorry, still no hoverboards. Turn back.
All right. Well, look. We can probably do this all night. I don't want to kind of just shut you down and wrap it up, but like give yourself a last plug if you've got things you want to shout about. Like otherwise, we're probably going to end it there. I really
sweet.
You went
mate,
scheduling and stuff because real life is really
that's all good, man. Like
ability.
Well, cheers. Thank you very much, Scott, for this opportunity. I'm actually, when you first messaged me about this interview, I kind of like really? Like me? No, get out of here. Like,
I was like, really?
It's a humbling experience. As far as plugging, I don't really have anything more to say, but just keep an eye out for us, like for the Four Horsemen. There's going to be a few more projects along the way, and keep building, guys. That's all I can say. Build for yourself.
It's another excuse down at your bench when you know you've kind of got some company. You know, you can stick on you guys having a stream and a yarn and stuff, and just chip away at whatever you're doing. You know, sometimes you can get to a point in your building career. I've only been doing it about 12 months, but even I've had those moments where you walk into your room and you sit down, you can feel a little bit lonely in a fashion. And by having these voices, and you know it's real, and they're not the ones in my head, they're your voices. You know,
is it?
You can feel that sense of community just sitting at your bench, just knocking stuff.
Exactly, and like I said, this is what it's all about. You know what I mean? Like in any type of scenario, in any type of like arty scene, there's always a community, and this is great. This is what it's all about. So mad respect to you for even like considering little old me. You know, like I said, I've been doing this for ages, man, and like the repertoire of artists that we've interviewed is even good to be, you know, in the same kind of like caliber, but not James Nozaku Boy. He's a fraud. I love you, bro.
No, all you guys, you've all got something in common, and it's always it's not just about the modelling, and that's what's important to me. And the Gunpla work is, you know, it's not just about the
exactly. Yeah, you got to be like good blokes too, or good peoples. You know what I mean? So
for an hour and 25 minutes, that's all you got to do.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, look, thanks very much, Has been really awesome. We're going to be in touch. I'm going to be in Sydney.
Of course.
I'm hoping you'll be there this year. Try and stick.
Mate, I will. I'm going to try to work on this guy. Look at him, like, oh, look at him. He's good.
Don't make Stubby cry. Lives it.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely give it. I'll definitely like push for it. The thing is, I get distracted, man. I get distracted by it.
Doesn't.
Oh, I'm doing this, and then I see like a tank. A tank! Like, I want to quickly do this for the weekend project. Like.
Yeah. What I've found this over Christmas is I've kicked off a few like just friendly build-offs with mates, and it gets me locked in because I find I get a kit, I paint it, and all I gotta do is like weather it and water slide it, and I kind of like I push it to the side. I'm like, oh, that worked, okay. But when I've got a mate, and we're like, okay, 4 weeks from now we've got to have a Jagan painted and finished. And
exactly.
You don't want to let that bloke down, and use that little bit more drive to finish projects because I'm like you, I'm terrible. I got 4 kits that need weathering badly. They deserve it. Yeah, we've all got challenges. First world challenge. That's all.
We do.
All right, mate. Thanks again.
All right, bro.
Thanks so much for coming along. And
pleasure.
Four Horsemen.
Four Horsemen. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah,
thank you so much, man. I'll see you soon.
See you later.
We out. Cheers.